today, right, we have a guest with us, right, that recently hit one of his major milestones in his life.
Definitely, I would think that. Yeah.
Yeah, so our friend here, Ben, right, recently got engaged.
Yeah! I'm so happy for you!
Yeah, so maybe Ben, right, you want to do a quick introduction of yourself, and then how does it feel like to be engaged now?
I'm Ben, and I'm 27 this year. I'm a fresh grad from NUS. I work as a software engineer. I've been dating my girlfriend for close to 7 years.
7 years. 7 years!
Yeah.
And you popped the question.
Secondary school?
Right after army.
After army?
During army lah. How does it feel like to be engaged? I think given the COVID scenario, there's not much excitement to it, but it's just a milestone.
Okay.
Achieving a milestone. And
Do you feel like you enter the next phase of life already?
I think the go from uni to work is more of a next phase of life.
Okay.
This lah. I think
Maybe now haven't yet, right? Is it?
Yeah, I think haven't settled in lah. I mean, just propose. You don't have
Much of the feeling.
yeah,
much
you
of
don't
the-
have, you yet to have a house.
Yeah,
you haven't
right.
do your RM, your housing and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So I think that takes
It takes a while
lah
to get into
to get into the whole feeling of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So today Ben will be sharing with us his proposal story, or his story lah, and his experiences of what he went through from the proposal itself. Like how do you plan? What's your timeline?
Okay. So I think the starting point is, I mean, for the whole process of planning of the actual proposal, it didn't take quite long. It took around 2 weeks to plan.
Oh
And
wow.
execute.
2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. But if you want to talk about the ring itself, then it will be months ahead lah, because your ring will take time
Yeah.
to design, to create,
Okay,
and to come up with the whole thing lah. So I would say comfortably a few months should be quite comfortable lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But I think it differs from people to
From
people.
people to people.
Yeah, the reason why the whole planning, from the planning to the execution itself, wasn't too long is because I had a major work commitment that ended, and I just want to do right after that lah.
Okay.
Yeah, and just happened that we have a very good excuse that it's her best friend's birthday, so I used that as a way to cover up for the whole
Wow.
plan.
Okay.
Well, since it's a finance podcast, right? So can you share with us, right? How do you actually budget for it? How do you actually come up with the costing or everything lah? Do you set a budget first, or do you just go for whatever you want?
Maybe we set out to talk about the venue first. From there, you will know the rough price, then you will know your budget.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think currently venue-wise, zoo, all these all major places cost thousands, low thousands, I think. Low thousand cost. So really depends on whether you want to spend that much. Let's discuss it not in the COVID situation, because if it's COVID, then you need to even weigh whether is it worth it to invest so much in this proposal while many of people can't even attend. So it's just a very private, small event. I think the usual is people will go for hotels or staycation.
So staycations.
Yeah, so that will cost you a few hundred.
$100.
Yeah, then just a bit more money for decorations, and also, I mean, food-wise, I think it's part of your staycay or you're gonna eat anyway. So just decorations lah. So really it's what you want first, then you see whether your budget can meet.
So how about yours?
Yeah.
Like your one, roughly how you plan out, and then how do you budget?
So for me, I use my friend's house, because the story I give is we are going to her house to celebrate her birthday lah. So cost for me was rather low, so the cost mainly lies on the decoration, the props that you want to use and stuff lah.
Okay.
So that costs a few hundred. Yeah, and of course I order food, because I mean food is not part of the plan. Around 500, you should be able to settle everything.
Was there an alternative for you? As in, were you thinking of like staycation, like what you mentioned, or?
For me, I didn't want to do a staycation because I feel like it's very gimmicky and stuff. But I mean, it really too mainstream. Yeah, I feel like see it too many times on Insta story already.
Oh, what's your budget? Actually, what do you have in mind for your budget?
I initially did think about getting an external venue, but I think because of the COVID situation, I did not go through with it. It's not worth it, the price. So I decided to do a more private one.
Okay.
Yeah, so that itself affected. Budget-wise, initially I was thinking 1 or 2K to settle everything. Yeah, so end up it's lower than expected because of the whole COVID thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think ring is one of the most expensive item, right?
Yeah, actually ring should be
the most
most expensive lah. You have to decide whether you want to do it yourself fully or you want to do as a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking strictly about the engagement ring, not the wedding band here. When you want to do the ring, it's best that you have a budget.
Okay.
If not, it's very easy to go out of budget, and it's also very hard for the person, the shop to recommend a ring of size lah to your budget. So usually you go with a budget.
Okay, so usually how people plan for it, because usually they want to surprise the other half, right? So you actually need to go and like find the ring size,
the design.
Yeah, so I took a different route lah. I asked my girlfriend to go, so ring size was not a problem.
confirm.
So what's your thought? Why would you want to ask your girlfriend go?
I just think that it should be something that she likes lah. Because she's gonna wear for the rest of her life. I don't want her to choose something that she don't like lah. Yeah, so but for others, I think some people ring size ultimately you get a rough gauge. Then if you need to resize, you can subsequently resize. Yeah, so usually how you choose a ring is you choose the diamond first lah. Or some people might even choose colored gems.
Okay.
Yeah, so it really depends on what your partner likes. Yeah.
So I assume diamond is more expensive lah, right?
It depends on how exotic you want your gemstones to be also lah. Yeah,
okay.
so it really depends.
Is there like a different level of diamond, like different tier?
Yeah, diamonds usually have different tiers. They call the 4 C's lah.
Right,
Yeah, the carat, which is the size lah, basically. Then you have the clarity, which is basically whether there's impurities inside. Because it's natural, so there might be spots or deposits inside. Yeah, then the color. So color is basically ranges from colorless to yellow, slight yellow, this kind of thing. Then lastly is cut lah. Basically how well they cut the diamond too. Yeah, so all these affect the price lah. Yeah, and usually you go with a budget. So then the first thing you decide usually is the size lah. So for my case, I suggested a budget lah. Then we try to work within the budget lah.
Okay.
But I would say that it shouldn't exceed around more than half a month of your salary.
Half a month
Half
of your
of your
salary.
salary.
Okay.
For the engagement ring.
Yeah, but I mean for some people they will do until 1 month. So I think the range is around there.
Okay.
If not, you just need to think about it like 12 months, you spend 1 whole month of your salary into an engagement ring.
Okay.
I mean, for fresh grad lah,
It's a bit hard, right?
yeah,
It's hard.
yeah. So it really depends on how much savings you have lah. Maybe from army or from other sources that you have. Maybe have a bit more, then you can do a bit more. Yeah, but
Okay.
usually it depends lah. Because ultimately you still need to do a wedding band in the future, which will be, I think, obviously less expensive, but it will be another cost lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think you just need to spread out the spending lah, between your engagement ring and subsequently if you want to do ROM and how big you want to do ROM or this, you just have a rough idea lah. Yeah.
Okay.
Usually there is a lot of free book consultations with a lot of shops that you can go. Then they will teach you all these kind of 4 C's and stuff, which I don't need to go in depth lah, but they will teach you and explain to you lah. So maybe as a starter you can just go a few. I mean, enjoy the process, feel for it, understand a bit more. Then usually they will teach the same thing. So, and whatever you search online is just a supplement to whatever they have teach you lah. But if you prefer a colored gemstone, then you might need to do a bit more homework.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why leh? It's more complicated.
Yeah.
Simply is because diamond is mainstream, so there's more in the market. It's easier to find.
Okay.
Yeah, but as compared to colored gemstones, then it's
more
rarity
rare.
lah. It's a rarity. It's not that it is actually more expensive. It can be cheaper also.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think some people might think bigger is nicer. And it may not be true actually.
Right.
Yeah, it really depends on how.
Finger size,
Yeah,
right?
finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, the width of your finger. Yeah, whether does the diamond look okay?
Okay, on your right.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that is the rough.
Okay.
Gauge
So do you go to like those shop to try it out before you head to a designer and say that what kind of pattern you want, what kind of design roughly you have?
So though I say that the price will decide roughly your size, but the price itself we look at what range first lah. Usually they'll give you a tier around 0.1 range.
Okay.
Yeah, so from there you decide carat, then you can usually they'll just take a clipper and you'll just put on the hand and you can see whether is it the size is okay and stuff. Yeah, so from there you decide on the size already, then you decide on the color and stuff lah. The color I think you have to see for yourself lah. I really tried once like to see from the highest grade to one of the more middle tears, then you just see whether you can really see the yellowish. So it really depends, but it really depends on also. I mean, color is one of the more, I'll say one of the lowest priority of the Cs, because I mean naturally Asians are more yellowish, so actually slight yellow might actually look good. And it really depends on whether what color you want your ring to be. If you want it to be the traditional yellow gold color, it might look actually nicer, and rose gold also it might actually look nicer. So you have to consider that lah, and you might have to think whether is it worth it to pay. Usually color, the price difference from a grade is just a few $100 lah, 300 around there per grade. So it is one of the lower priorities.
Okay.
Then after that is the clarity. Yeah, clarity really depends lah. So it's I really question how well you can see.
You need a microscope, right? Zoom in, then you can see, right?
That's what usually the people say lah, but some people claim that they can see that this is brighter than that. Which I don't know. I myself don't think that's the case, but I do agree that if you go too low the grade, the diamond may not be as shiny because of the cloudiness in the.
You saw the difference lah.
That I can see the difference lah. But in general, diamond will lose its shine over time not because it loses its shine, but because of
the moment you worry, then
oil, whatever you do with it lah. So that itself a fact lah. But at a point in time when you buy it, usually it will be quite bright lah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then lastly is cut lah. Cut, I think the general guideline is just everybody go for excellent cut lah. Basically, it's the best cut that. The most mathematically, I think all of us learned in secondary school. Not secondary school, maybe JC, the reflection thing.
Okay.
So just go for the best one lah. So you'll naturally be the
shiniest.
Shiniest lah. Yeah. For diamond, right, the surface we call it facets. So usually they have a fixed amount of facets that will cut, and that will be excellent already. But some companies, because marketing or even the add-on value to it lah, so they cut even more to make it even brighter. But the general benchmark that people do is just excellent. But you might hear other weird terms that is not commonly used because that is just the company's own
the way of preparing it lah.
Their own design,
the uniqueness of the company itself.
Yeah, so that really depends on whether you want to pay a premium for it. Usually because it costs a premium.
Okay.
And diamond, back to maybe carat, right? It's not a linear graph.
I heard about that.
Wow.
It's not
exponential one.
It's exponential. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that the cost increase from 0.1 to 0.2 is the same as 0.7 to 0.8.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an exponential.
It's exponential. I would say it's not even exponential. It's a very weird line. So at some point it's more gradual, at some it's more steep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like what I understand it to be is that if you were to go for a 0.4 to 0.5 jump, it's another price tiering. And plus the 1.0 mark is also another tiering.
Okay.
Yeah, the rough idea that I understand is because usually diamond don't come in what we see as a shape, it usually come in a stone. So usually they will cut it into different sizes. So usually 0.4 or like lower is an off cut. So they have a bigger diamond. They cut the big size one to make a big diamond, and that is a small one. So usually those are cheaper. But if you were to go for 0.5, meaning that the bigger diamond need to be like bigger than 0.5, because usually that's a smaller cut. So just imagine how common can you find a raw diamond that is like more than 1 point something.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the rough idea that I understand why it has its own cost.
Okay. Well, with that, does it help you to restrict your budget?
It does. So actually, I wanted to get something more than 0.5
Okay.
Because I think Chinese they don't like the 0.4, the 4 number. Right? Yeah. Something along that line. So actually, I wanted to go above. Maybe it's part of the plan. I don't know. Maybe. So maybe. So that jump was and I see that the price was out of my budget because usually the diamond price is one, then you need to factor in the cost of the ring,
the design of the ring and everything.
So maybe we talk about the ring. The ring usually there's 3 kind of design. One is called the solitaire, so it's just one ring itself, there's no side, it's just the ring itself. Then there's one with side diamonds, basically a few more side diamonds. They don't charge you for that diamond as part of the ring cost .
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that ring will be a bit more expensive. I don't know, but usually that kind is very. They don't even give you a set for that diamonds because it's just small lumps . Then lastly is the halo. Halo is basically your one big diamond in the middle, then you surround it with a lot of small diamonds. So usually it revolves around these 3 designs. Then you go into the intricacies whether you want your ring to be what diameter, whether you want to stack it, the lady want to stack her ring, right?
Yeah.
And stuff, all this kind of things. So then you, but usually the cost of the ring is way lesser than the diamond itself. So usually go for diamond and casing. Usually, casing basically the ring. Usually they have some preset on. Like just look from there. Usually, unless you really want to create from scratch, design fully, then of course you need to pay a bit more for the designer to design for you, and you need to find a shop that will do it for you, because those mainstream brick and mortar shop, they don't do modification for you, usually it's a fixed catalog kind of thing.
It's really what they have already, then you just purchase on the catalog itself.
Yeah, so that's the difference.
Yeah, actually recently there's a lot of news on these fake diamonds, artificial diamonds. Yeah, actually I don't know, have you explored that option?
Fake as in real fake or man-made?
Man-made diamonds, artificial diamonds.
Artificial.
So there's a lot of news on that recently.
So it really depends on what your philosophy is. I think man-made diamonds, whether you like it or not. Of course, man-made diamonds are way cheap. Like if you compare apple to apple, it's confirmed way cheaper because it's lab grown. You can obviously buy a bigger one using the same budget. Yeah. So, but it really depends on the philosophy, Maybe traditional people will think that when you propose, don't use man-made stuff.
So between a man-made and the actual one, right? Is there a cert difference, or is there a representation difference towards it?
Cert wise, I can't recall. I'm not too sure, but obviously there will be a cert. But whether is it the same GIA cert, that I'm not sure. But the difference, how you choose it is actually the same. It's still the 4 Cs. Yeah, and you can actually choose one with impurities inside. Wow. Yeah, does. It is possible, so that it doesn't look as perfect, correct? Because you don't want it to be perfect.
Too perfect,
then it might go towards the word of fake already, right?
Yeah. Have you considered man-made diamonds?
So actually, there is a brick and mortar shop that look at specifically at man-made. Okay. Yeah, there are actually quite a lot of options nowadays, as compared to a typical
Pokim, SK,
yeah, all these they do sell. Those usually they sell those that mine from the ground, but they do additional facets. Yeah, so it depends. Then there's a lot of bespoke kind of blog shop or even shops nowadays also. So there's a lot of options that you can explore. Whether you want what kind and where do you want it. But usually if you want to go for gems, then it's non-diamond coloured gems. It's confirmed not brick and mortar shops. Usually you need to go find, or maybe a very less known brick and mortar shop in a more obscure area. Yeah, where you need to go and see the gem itself. There's a difference. Yeah.
Okay.
So my girlfriend, she thought about she wants some Harry Winston ring. So I don't even know the brand actually.
I don't even know what's that.
I think at least 5-figure one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's actually quite a bit breaking the bank if you talk about it for a fresh grad. So what do you think about this kind of expensive rings? Does it really make a point for you? Does it really make sense? Or do you think it's...
For me, it didn't make sense because we did talk about the budget before we decide on what ring to buy. I think how I plan it now and how you all plan it after COVID might be slightly different. But the logic was rather similar. It's just we were thinking if you were to spend too much in the ring, then you might have financial limitations at the wedding dinner or even the ROM, depending on whether how you want to do ROM. Is it just go to the ROM and just sign, or you want to do a private event or what? So that is also another cost, right? But if you were to do just ROM, it will be quite cheap. Yeah, so you need to think. The key thing is how much money you have as a fresh grad, correct? Ultimately, you might be still paying your student loan, which is another expense itself.
But I think it's priority of whatever you want. Maybe you want ROM to be more grand, then you will spend more on it, then you spend lesser on that's how you prioritize.
I mean, if necessarily there's no COVID, then you might want to save more for your wedding dinner or even subsequently your honeymoon or even your house, your furniture. So you have to weigh a bit. But usually I would say 2 to 4 is, I think, what most
2 to 4K.
2 to 4K is what most fresh grad will buy. It really depends, right? Because I'm a fresh grad. As if let's say you were to propose subsequently, maybe in your late 20s or even your early 30s, then you might actually have more
budget.
more budget than if you want to afford more, then
Okay.
so different time lah. I have a friend that proposed when he's still in school, but the female is actually working. And of course he can't afford a big one.
Yeah.
And usually one key thing is that shops will have this upgrade plan where you can trade in your diamond in the future.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
at the
Trade in
cost that you buy it, then
Okay.
you pay the difference for a bigger ring, like upgrade lah. Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know
Okay.
about such
Yeah,
things.
that's right.
Yeah.
But with that upgrade, you say they will pay you at the cost that you bought it.
Yeah, so
Right.
they will minus off the difference lah. Then you
Okay.
still have to pay the gap lah.
Is there a what we call depreciating value of diamond? As in like cost within.
Actually, diamond in general is a depreciating asset.
Mhm.
Yeah, the moment you buy, you can't sell it at the same price.
Right.
Yeah, it is lah. It is. I mean, ultimately, it's a marketing thing lah.
Okay.
Yeah, diamond
Okay.
ultimately, I mean, it's just because it's the hardest.
So they will see the value of the diamond at the current moment when you trade in.
No, I think they will buy it at the
Your
purchase
cost value.
price.
Oh, your
yeah,
cost- your
the
cost
cost
So it's
price.
actually good.
It's a good. It is
Yeah.
cause.
But you have to check whether the shop offer that or not.
Oh, okay,
ultimately.
I do heard of people like after 10 years they do change the ring and do make their
Okay.
vow again. Yeah, correct. Then you will
Yeah.
have another ring to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's always possible to buy a new ring.
So you say that if we want to propose right to let's say our girlfriend or this right, you need to at least set aside 5K to 7K maybe as a rough
including
budget, right? Everything lah, all this.
everything.
Right?
All
including
in.
the ring.
Yeah.
Unless you want a very fancy
Fancy lah,
venue
fancy.
or way of doing it, which I'm pretty sure people can spend up to the tens of thousands
Okay.
for this kind of thing lah. But
So for normal folks, 5 to 7K.
5 to 7K. Yeah.
including the ring, I would say
That's
should
a good
be
figure
It's
to
a
work
good-
around with.
yeah, or even lower actually. I
Even
think
lower lah.
actually
For-
5 would be, cause you just imagine, let's say you have a 3K budget for a ring. That means they have a 2K for the rest.
Okay.
Yeah, which
More than enough. Lah.
Which is-
if you were to do a hotel proposal, I think it's more than enough. Because
Okay.
decorations itself, decorations you also can decide whether you want to do it yourself or you want to get someone to do it. Because ultimately you're going staycation with her. If you go ahead and do the preparation first, then a bit weird also, right? Like she will think it's suspicious and stuff. So you get someone to do it, then yeah, you'll pay a few hundred for that at least. If you do yourself, it's also a few hundred, low or high hundreds. Then your hotel itself will be another 500 itself at least. Then food. So I think it's comfortable lah, 4
Okay.
to 5K.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you want to go external venue, then that venue itself might cost thousands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you can just round things up, right? And then you can basically give one advice, right, to guys that want to propose, right? That's the one most important thing, right, that you can tell them to prepare for lah. That's gonna propose soon.
I think that just to make it fun lah, rather than like enjoy the process lah. Right? Enjoy the process, rather than just thinking that it's a hassle lah. Because that actually is quite a it's an industry itself ah. It's an industry itself, like the whole buying a ring, gems. It's an industry itself. There's a lot of interesting things that you can learn from there also lah. That it's just good distraction from your day-to-day life. Yeah, and enjoy the process rather than just thinking that it's a problem that I need to
cost,
solve.
yeah.
Alright, yeah.
Cost is important lah, but usually that's why I think that setting a budget first, work within it, will give you less stress rather than when your budget is not fixed. Then you see that price difference, and after that when you tally the whole spending, then it's come as a shock to you and stuff. So usually that helps.